Hello, travelers. Boardman21 here with LizardIRL, and we're going to be doing part 2. We're going to be covering all of the jewelry. That'll be the rings, the amulets. We'll also be doing the relics, and then we'll do the shields as well. And then in part 3, we will do all the weapons. There's just a lot of these. There's 180 uniques altogether, so it's taking a little bit to divide them all up and talk about them and sort them out. But again, with me here today for part 2 is LizardIRL.
Hello.
All right, Lizard, you ready to get down to this?
Hey, 2 hours into video number 1. It seems like we have a few hours ahead of us. Let's do it.
All right, again, we're going to be rating these the same way. We're going to have an S plus end game. We're going to have an S plus for leveling. That means that they're probably not good at end game, but they're great for leveling. We'll have A tier and B tier, which is kind of the levels of they're good, but not so much that you'd use for, the whole leveling process, and you wouldn't use them at end game. And then, of course, we have the crap pile, which is going to be a pile of uniques that we just don't use. You see it, you're like, oh, that's cool, but I'll never wear that, and hopefully it sees a fix in the future. That's what we're hoping. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So, Arborial Circuit.
Well, the quintessential leveling ring, right? The illusory tree that taunts is really nice for safety. You just want to run. Like we mentioned, with the combo of the items that give you movement speed, right, and dodge rating and so on. This item can give you up to, I don't know, 18% movement speed. And if you're playing minions, that minion armor early on basically makes your minions turbo immortal. Again, you have two of those on your stash. You're gonna be using them while leveling. It has to be S leveling. You go so fast with this, and and all the other movements like Falcon and things like that. So really good for leveling.
Yep, this is a very powerful leveling. It's going to give you massive movement speed. We're talking not only 8% that you can get from a silver ring, but a 10% maximum roll on top of that as a prefix or as an affix on the item. And on top of that, when you do take a hit, you have a chance to summon a tree, which taunts everything for 3 screens away, giving you plenty of time to get out of harm's way. If you're playing with minions, it's going to give you massive armor for your minions, so they're not going to take any damage. If you have 2 of these on, you can have 2 separate trees on separate cooldowns that can proc. They last until either they're killed. I think they last for about 10 seconds, so you can actually get 100% uptime of the trees themselves, which is absolutely ridiculous. If you're playing with minions, you can stack this and synergize it with many other uniques. You have the Viper Tail, so if you're doing Wandering Spirits with it, it's crazy. As Lizard said, the Falcon, many leveling uniques synergize with these really good, and you can just fly through the campaign on alt characters if you have all of these.
Yep.
All right, we have the Quicksilver Coil.
My personal favorite unique in the game. Haste on a ring is the name of the item. It's a very luxury item because normally you don't want to be losing your ring slot, But if my build doesn't have haste, because I don't have access to it on my skills or passives, or I can use, Wings of Argentus or whatever, I'm always going to rock this item. I use this on my Fireball, I use this on my Turbo Vengeance. I just think having that 30% chance to get haste, it's just insane, right? And plus the movement speed. All the flurry stuff is whatever, all the bow is whatever, but the fact that you can get haste on any build that hits thanks to this, it's insane. And honestly, like, if your build doesn't have haste, get haste. It's insane. It basically doubles your movement speed, right? So, and movement speed is so good for dodging and moving and clearing and everything else. So for me, it has to be S plus endgame. I love this item. It's absolutely, it's kind of like hard to fit on your builds, but if you have good gear and you can fit it, it's such a upgrade in terms of like clear speed, movement speed, and just like the fluidity of playing your build with haste is just insane. I recommend playing around with this item, guys, and get the one that it actually has good rolls. 8% with 20 or 30 or whatever. You want to get that. Insane item.
Yep, I agree. And one of the things about these rings, a lot of them are going to be S tier because it is so easy to put a ring on because, 1, you have 2 slots for rings, and 2, they're kind of like, they almost feel like they've been left behind. You have all the other slots have become class specific, or you have boots, which are unique to movement speed, so you base it around that. If a unique doesn't have it, it's garbage. Yep. Amulets have a higher percentage on the rolls. Gloves have some unique modifiers. Rings are just kind of like blah. You don't usually
Yeah.
have something you absolutely have to have. So being able to throw one of these on usually is not a build killer, and it's going to really enable you, like he said, with haste to be able to move. It comes with some attack speed. It's really nice, and you can put it on and use it in endgame builds.
Yeah, exactly what you're saying. What are you gonna craft on your rings? You know, crit avoidance, some health, some main stats, some crit chance. Who cares, right? Yeah, I mean, some of the new bases of rings are actually really cool. Coral rings, ivory ring with the necrorest. But if you have all of that sorted, like rings is again, like you're saying, it feels so nice getting a unique ring. You don't feel like you're getting punished, right? So again, yeah.
Yeah, they did come out with some really nice implicits for the rings, and like the vitality and the health regen, the mana regen you can get on now, really nice.
Yep.
But as for the actual prefix and suffix that you can put on them, those haven't changed much, and they're quite limited. You know, you can't put vitality or some of the rare ones they're very slot limited.
Yep.
So you just, you know, you can throw unique in there and not worry about it too much.
Yep.
All right, we got the Ring of the Third Eye.
It's one of those items that you think, oh, nice, I'm gonna get some worth. It's kind of cool. But let's be honest, it's just crap. You're really not gonna use it leveling. You're really not gonna use it endgame. And again, just like, would you wear this over anything else that you can get on rings? No, I think it's just crap. Cool concept, just crap.
I'm gonna put it in crap. I do hope that in the future they do a better version of this or a higher end version. I'd almost like to put this in B. I did do a build that used it, and that build was based. I believe I did it on a paladin. It was on a sentinel character. I believe it was paladin. We were also converting all of our ward using the symbol of demise into bleed chance.
Yeah, I saw that one.
And so this allowed us to gain a whole lot of ward for all the crits we did, and we had a whole lot of bleed chance. So we didn't care about the critical strike multiplier. So we weren't really doing hit damage, so we didn't care about that, but we were doing a lot of crits, 100% crit, and you just gain massive ward. So it has some cool, it's kind of memey, you know, it wasn't like this OP thing, but it was cool, but I'm still going to put it in the crap. I would like to see it get buffed a bit.
And sometimes it's fun to play with crap, right? Get a bit messy, you know?
Yeah, you put enough crap on, something's bound to happen. Typically, still probably a pile of garbage, but...
Beautiful.
All right, we got the Sun Wreath.
Well, Sun Wreath is definitely one of those items that really brings builds to the next level. You know, the Firebrand combo with Flame Wreath. You know, you can make your Flame Wreath like giant on the 4th hit with that combo thingy, right, on Firebrand. And, well, I mean, it just makes your Firebrand, your Flame Wreath basically cover the entire screen and hit for like, you know, 20k or whatever. Really popular build at the moment, especially for newer players, and this ring definitely brings it to the next level. So for me, it has to be a S+ endgame. Pretty common also. A really low level for what it gives, actually. And yeah, it's not... I found a bit weird that it comes with Ignite, honestly, because most people are just using it for the flat crit version of it. But I mean, at the end of the day, all you want is the circle, right? You have you want the big circle, and that's it. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, like he said, the melee fire damage also is very powerful. You can't get that on rings. 14 is a big number. Sometimes you almost want to put on 2 rings just to get that melee fire damage to make Flame Wreath hit even harder. Like he said, it is weird that Ignite and fire damage over time comes on something that's obviously meant for trying to do some hit damage. But honestly, I'm now under the impression in this game that Ignite and Bleed are hybrid builds. They're not meant to be solo, like, distinct things. They're just secondary effects that do a little extra damage. I don't like that. But I mean, I think that's just kind of where they are with them. Whereas Poison is an actual, you know, dot build. I wish there were more dot variety, but we won't even get into that. I think that it is an S+ endgame build. It's viable at endgame. It's on endgame builds. Yeah, it belongs there. That's a whole nother convo for another. We'll have to do that video tomorrow or something.
Oh, hey, I'll be. I actually, a small parenthesis, but you know what I thought about the other day since you talked that? Because I heard Mike saying that, you know, they kind of like that Ignites, you get the main hit and then you get Ignite on top of it, like you're saying, it's more like a support thing. How cool would it be if Ignite it gave armor shred per stack? So you actually want to get Ignite chance so your actual hits do more damage. So it would be the, whatever.
Yeah, or it gave you fire penetration or you know,
something
a
like
more
that,
modifier on him. That would be pretty cool. All right, Hollow Fear.
Right. Hollow Finger. I mean, again, it's just so. This is so weird. The Maximus Skeleton is like kind of cool. The melee necro damage for you is weird, and the chance to chill on you, it's weird. I don't know. It's kind of nice that you can get chance to chill. There's not a single other item that I think it comes with chill other than the Primalist helmet, right? So if your build is lacking chill and you want to get it to kite and stuff, it's always an option. But I just think it's an old item that needs some love. I think for me it's like a B, honestly. You can use it, but honestly, if you're playing minions, let's be honest, you're probably gonna be using a Ribbons of Blood. You're probably gonna be using like an actual good crafted like Turquoise ring, right, with some like good minion stats and so on. So I don't know. I feel like it's just B. It just got outclassed over time. I don't know.
I'm really stuck with it because it has some purposes. I'm gonna go with B. I'm not gonna put it in endgame. The reason I would have put it in an S plus endgame is because you can slap it on a Werebear Earthquake build and get that 150% more multiplier with the chill on enemies.
With chill.
But you can also get chill in the Shaman Tree. So you can bypass it.
Or on the Blessing, just get it on the Blessing.
And since it's bypassable, I'm gonna lower it down for that reason. It's not crap. I do think that this will become more potent in the next patch, where they've reduced the number of maximum skeletons that you can have. So I think it'll be a little bit more powerful. I am also very confused why all the affixes on it. It's obviously a minion skeleton ring. Why does it give you the chill? Why does it give you the melee necrotic?
Yeah. It's weird.
I don't know why it's not minion or both minion melee necrotic damage. But I mean, I'm just gonna leave it.
The depths have these weird ideas, right? The depths have these weird ideas where they want you to play like, the melee with throwing attacks. So they want you to play the minion melee at the same time. And these are really cool concepts on paper, but how the game actually plays and how the items actually work. If you're building for yourself and you're not building for your minions, well, you're just making your minions shittier, right? So like one of those things, like unless you're just scaling intelligence, which benefits both, right, and things like that. There's some exceptions, but yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, in most cases in the game, they have this idea where hybrid is a cool thing, and hybrid really just doesn't benefit you because the way their formulas, the way they benefit, damage numbers, it's single. You want to go to a single tag and you want to increase it and multiply it as much as possible, and so hybrids really suffer, but. It's kind of like the Spellblade. It's supposed to be a hybrid character, and it's supposed to do spell and melee, but you'll find yourself, you want to do one or the other. It's very hard to do both. But anyways, another conversation for another day.
Yeah.
All right, Lilas Signet.
It's one of those items that you see it and you go like, oh, that's kind of like, elemental rest while channeling, and okay, what does channel? Well, Warpath and Avalanche, and not that much, right? Lightning damage, it's like one of those items that it's weird. You can use it, especially if you don't have good gear early on. But let's be honest, you're never gonna run this endgame. I think it's like a B. You can use it in some particular cases, but I don't know. Like I think it's not crap. But would I choose to run this? No, right? That's what I think.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. It's great for kind of leveling up, but I mean, if you're going to channel, say, Warpath, you're already going to have your elemental resist. If you're going to channel Avalanche, you're already going to have your elemental resist, from your totems. If you're going to channel, whether you be probably on like a mage channeling, Elemental Nova or Disintegrate or something, you're already going to have your elemental resist on those characters because they're elementalist. It's just kind of useful early, but as soon as you get some passive points, it's just it goes down the tier. You don't use it very long. It is the main problem is that it does require level 45, and at that point you almost don't need it anymore. It's not that good. It's almost a crap item, but you might use it for a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree.
The Ribbons of Blood.
Now, I love this item. Again, it's somehow easy to farm, right, on a regular abomination. And honestly, the minions cannot be crit alone. It's like super, super useful. Like it basically, especially if you're playing Necro or things like that, where it's hard to get the minions cannot be crit. to be honest, really insane item just for that. But on top of that, you give the leech. You give them leech rate, so they can like super survive. You're playing something like wolves or whatever, and the increased health for you with the increased fire res. Like this is honestly like everything you want on a minion item. It's S plus for sure. Such a cool item. I really like it. So you might even want to run 2 of this just because of the 10% HP and the flat damage is so nice. I mean, it's not that efficient, but it's that good, this item, in my opinion. Really good item.
If you are playing melee minions, and you have your resistances covered elsewhere, 2 of these rings is definitely viable in an end game build. If you're running wolves, if you're running Death Knights on a Necromancer, the flat melee physical damage on top of giving them that amount of leech, and you're getting 20% more health, is very powerful. You're going to be tankier, and your minions are going to become much more powerful. One of them is like almost needed, almost like absolutely mandatory on a minion melee build, but 2 of them also can work as long as you can work out the other spots to cover yourself.
Yeah. And again, like we were saying, what else are you going to get on a ring?
Yeah, none of that.
Well, 10% HP is already like juicy, so especially if you're stacking HP everywhere else, right? It's a big jump, so yeah.
Yeah, you can't get minion leech, you can't get minion leech rate, you can't get minion flat damage, and you can't make your minions not be crit. Those are all very unique niche affixes, so at least one of those is like almost mandatory for a melee minion build.
Yep.
Very, very juicy. Alright, Siphon of Anguish.
Really good item. Kind of hard to roll a good one, even though if you're farming corruption and if you're playing the game, you're probably gonna have tens of these items, because it basically drops every time you kill Shade. So eventually you're gonna get a good one. I think Doom is really cool, especially for melee builds, having that ability to actually multiply your damage thanks to Doom. For those who don't know, Doom, it's like an ailment. It can stack, I think, 3 or 4 times, right? It does 400 base damage, but the important part is that it makes you do more melee damage to the enemies enemies take increased melee damage. So it's basically in burst frailty. It's really crazy damage multiplier for melee. A lot of people use it on ailment builds, but I think the real strength of Doom is to actually use it on melee builds. Again, the stats it gives, the leech rate on alone, movement speed on a ring, it's a good coral base with elemental resistances, damage leads, boilage. It's just a great item. It has to be S plus for me. Again, it's kind of like those items that, if you're already using like let's just say you're already using a silver coil because you want the haste, it's kind of like hard to fit both unique rings, because again, you're gonna need those slots for resistances or crit avoidance or whatever. But if you have good gear enough so you can run these both rings on a Void Knight, like the silver coil and the Siphon of Anguish, you're flying, basically. You're flying. So, really good item. I like it.
Yeah, it is an S plus endgame item. It's used on a lot of endgame builds. It's also an S plus leveling item. Granted, you can't wear it till level 55, but when you put it on and you have, say, like the Necromancer with Wandering Spirits or the Acolyte with Wandering Spirits, you can apply that Doom and it kills everything, because Doom is it hits really hard as an ailment.
Yeah, the base damage is really high. Yeah. It falls off, I think, Doom, right? Because you can stack it, and that's a downside. But again, if your Bleed has like a 30-something base damage, like a single stack of Doom is like 10 stacks of Bleed or something like that. So you can definitely, especially if you're doing dots, you put a Doom build on it, you're gonna see that suddenly you're doing so much damage. And it's not necessarily because Doom is super OP, it's just because compared to the other dots, it's a big flat damage boom, especially for burst, for early damage, right? Which is kind of like what dot builds lack. And again, if you're playing melee, just the fact that you multiply your damage by 18% or 16%, whatever it is, it's like insane. So yeah.
Yep.
Plus all the other stats are great. So yeah.
Completely agree. It's definitely a ring. If you have one, you're going to want to put it on at some point on almost any build that you do. Very powerful. All right, the Heroom of the Last Nomad.
What a weird-ass item, huh? A lot of health, some weird resistances, really hard to roll a good one. And again, this stun thingy, I think the downside is so high that all the benefits just get offset. So for me, it's just a crap item, honestly. Like,
Yep.
Stun is already like out of control in this game as a player. You get stunned and you just die. And sure, you can cleanse it, but what if you... Sometimes it's hard to react to these kind of things because you have to cleanse it. You can't like preemptively use it. So it's just like... I don't know. I just think the downside is too high. And I rather, if I want to be stun immune, I rather just use the belt that we covered on the previous video. And yeah, I just don't... Especially with how many good rings, like we have so many rings that are S plus and they're actually good items. Like I don't see how, like this item is just crap, I think. Yeah.
Yep, I believe a normal stun lasts, what, 0.7 seconds on a player?
Mm-hmm.
And this increases the duration of stuns that's received by you by up to 90%. So almost up to 1.5 seconds, which means that you, when you get stunned...
You don't move.
You don't move. But one, you have to be able to see that in all the hits that you're taking and all the colors going on the screen. You have to be like, oh shit, I'm stunned. And then in less than a second, you got to use the potion. Now, it doesn't stop you from being stunned. You already got stunned. You're now stuck.
Yeah.
You're being hit. You have to react. Then use a potion if you have one. And then you don't get any sort of stun immunity after that. So it's...
Yeah, you can
garbage.
use it, cleanse, and get immediately stunned again. For like, and you could basically be almost... I mean, there's like some DR, you can be chain stunned. But it definitely feels like... I mean, even though it's not technically a chain stun, it will feel like one. You know?
Yeah, it should definitely
yeah.
be changed. It should definitely be if you've recently been stunned and then use the potion like within 4 seconds of being stunned.
You get immunity for 10 seconds or something.
Yeah, you get immunity
4
for
seconds.
a time period. That would be way more useful. It would actually be possible to do. But I mean, if you are such a high APM user that you can tell the moment you got stunned and react that quick in under a second, maybe you could benefit from it, but otherwise, no. Why would I want to make myself stun longer when I know I can't even react in that 1 second?
And to be honest, if you get stunned and you're doing a real hard content, high arena and stuff, if you get stunned, you're dead anyway. Doesn't matter if you cleanse, you're gonna die before you can cleanse, right? You're gonna get shotgunned by pyromancers or whatever, like scholars, you're dead. So yeah.
Yeah. Now the freeze, I don't know if it works, but the only possible meme thing that I could see it working for is if you go to battle Heroit and you get that frozen strike that he does, and then you use a potion so you can unfreeze while he's in the beam. Maybe that would be a cool thing to do. Just like, haha,
hey,
you suck, man.
Yeah,
but I mean, that's
you
it.
You suck, dear. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, crop item.
All right, Oshirion.
I mean, when freeze used to be a thing, you know, with the freeze rate per chill chance, and it was actually like better before they, you know, make it harder for bosses. This used to be pretty crazy for CC. It's a pretty hard, it's a very rare item. It's hard to drop this. And you know, it comes with shock duration, shock effect. It's not a bad item. But again, right now, it's like, I don't know. Do you really need this on any build? No. Is it nice? Yes. For me, it's like, but for how hard it is to get also, I think for me, it's like an A item. It's like, okay, but again, if you want to get all of these shock chance and stuff, I mean, you could first of all, you can get a lot of these stats just on class-specific things without wasting your ring slot, right? So I don't know. I don't think it's that great. It used to be way better before they changed how CC worked, especially for bosses. I'm not a big fan.
I'd put it in B. I'd be okay with moving it up to A. But honestly, at level 74, it's just not something that I would at that point want to like take off a ring that's already got my health, the resistance, probably a damage increase, maybe mana regen on it. Like I just don't wear it. I never have, probably never will. If you want chill chance, if that's why you're going for it is chill chance, I would probably just go with the Hollow Finger because it comes with a higher chance. If you're playing a freeze build, which freeze rate and the way that it works, you're going to get a higher freeze rate per stack of chill on the enemy. It's going to be a nice buff, but you're still not going to freeze, you know, anything that you want to. No rares, no bosses. The shock numbers are kind of low. You know, you can already get so much shock with Elemental Nova that those little numbers are not something that's going to make or break a build. So I'd put it at B.
I mean, I don't know. It's just I think I don't know. I just think it's You get a lot of stats, right? I don't know. For me, it's like an A still. I mean, it could be B, but I do think it's better than something like Liat's like ring, like Liat's signet or whatever. So I don't
I'll
know.
I'll
For me,
go
it's a
up.
bit better than those items. But
I'll go up to A, but I want to hear you
okay.
admit that it's not a lot of affixes. It's 2 affixes. It's chill and it's shock. And that's it.
Yeah, well, but freeze rate per stack of chill, duration, right?
Name one.
Shock
Have you?
effect.
I want to know one time you actually built into freeze.
Next item.
All right. We got. Oh shit, that's it for the rings. We're going on to amulets.
Mm-hmm.
We got Gambler's Fallacy.
Well, the king of leveling, huh?
Yeah.
You can use this with Glacier. You can use this with the decoy that we talked earlier, right? That guaranteed crit, you can just run around, grab a group of mods, drop your nuke, you guaranteed the crit, you clear the entire screen, move on. You can literally zoom the leveling thanks to this item. There's some really nasty combos with this item for leveling. Again, the Glacier, it's one that comes to mind, decoy, right? There's a couple more. Really insane for leveling. And also you have like this weird synergy also with like Ink Bar's head or whatever, disintegrate. Which also may just keep in mind that that might be something you want to use for that specific build. But overall, for me, it's like an S leveling item. For me.
Yeah, it definitely gets used for leveling more than it does in endgame. There's only one
Yeah.
build in endgame that I know uses it. That is the Ignivar head, and it's stacking as much base critical strike chance to get as much critical strike chance to make disintegrate do more damage, synergy.
Yep.
But yeah, all the ones you named, Glacier, Decoy, all this for leveling, it is very, very powerful because you just attack once every few seconds, and it's always a critical strike with nothing built into it. So very, very powerful, and then you gain health on that, of course, as well. Yeah. All right, Bleeding Heart.
Bleeding Heart, I really like that amulet. Well, there's one thing that happens with dots in this game, that it's hard to leech with dots because most damage is either based on type of damage, like let's just say physical damage, or it's just melee damage on hit, right? Or it's just damage on hit. Obviously, since dots don't hit, it's hard to leech and sustain from them, unless you use Bleeding Heart, right? Bleeding Heart is also a level 4 item, comes with attack speed. And again, the 9% leech is just insane. Like if you're playing something like, again, Poison Leech, Bleed Paladin, any dot, you suddenly have your sustain covered. I think it's an S plus endgame viable. It's such a good item. And the downside, to be honest, the inflict with bleed when you cast a spell, who cares, honestly? You're taking 30 damage and you're gonna have Fist Rest. You take no damage. Really, really good item in my opinion. And it opens up that possibility of hey, now I have a bleed build and I'm leeching. If you're doing ticks that are doing like 1 million poison damage, suddenly you're leeching 9% of that. It's not a joke. It's crazy. You can get crazy sustain for dot builds. And or any build, if you need leech, you can just put on this bad boy and you're basically covered on your sustain. So that alone makes it really viable. I see it on a lot of builds, so S plus for me.
Yep, I agree. It's S plus. I've been over this in a couple of my videos before. Leech is one of the most powerful sustaining of your health builds in the game. Like, Leech is just OP compared to all the other sources. And the fact that you can't leech dots very easily is why dot builds, or it's another reason why dot builds lag behind hit damage builds, because they can't leech and sustain, they can't survive. The Bleeding Heart kind of changes that. It works for both, but it does allow you to leech a huge portion of all that damage over time that you're doing. The nice thing is, it's also a great synergy with Insanguius. If you're running a low life dot build, now whenever it makes you bleed, you're actually immune to bleed. So you can actually negate the whole negative side of it, and you just get a whole lot of leech, and the less health regen actually helps you because you're a low life build. And in that case, Bleeding Heart absolutely synergizes with Insanguius and Last Steps of Living in any low life build or dot build, whether it be hit damage or dot build, low life build, it definitely helps you.
Especially if you convert the leech right into damage with the low life leech nodes.
Yep. It'll give you more damage, it's just crazy. And then it's absolutely crazy that you can get it at level 4. I mean, they're like the most basic of fixes, but they're so rare. Like, there's what, maybe 2 or 3 sources in the entire game of damage leech his health.
I can only think about this and the new chalice, right?
Yeah, and the
So, yeah.
chalice I think is actually not even just damage. It's is it damage? I think it's just bleed, or it's physical
It
damage
leeches,
over time.
I think 2% of physical damage.
Yeah.
Just for bleeds.
And then the only other thing I can think of that has leech is overkill, which you can get on a couple of things, which
Yeah.
is all damage,
Yeah,
whether it be
undisputed
dot.
and stuff, yeah.
But it's still such a rare thing to get that it's super
Yeah,
powerful.
it's really unique. And again, you drop this at level 4, and suddenly you can basically just like yeah, you're getting hit by things in the campaign. You do one hit and boom, your life just, you can basically face tank, right? Even bosses, thanks to this, because they don't do enough damage to one shot you in the campaign. So yeah.
Yep. I mean, my favorite way to play with the Bleeding Heart is put on Nzanguis, do a low life build, play as a Lich or a Necromancer, and convert all your Leech into damage, so it gives you a boost to damage. You're immune to bleed. You can use Spirit Plague with the bleed effect, Transplant with the bleed effect. It's really great for poison/bleed hybrid builds. It's a very powerful end game unique.
Yep.
Great for the bleeding warpath. It is good. All right, we got the Claw.
Yep. Well, obviously the Claw. You're playing wolves. Well, it saves you a lot of points. It gives you that flat damage, some nice health. It's S leveling, of course. And its big brother, well, that's even better, but we'll get to that. It's obviously like a no-brainer. If you're playing wolves, you want this bad boy. Saves you so much points, and you can go straight into the good stuff for wolves, right? So
I agree. And didn't they change the wolves to there's a different way to summon the maximum amount? Was there something else that did that? I know the crows automatically do, but I thought the wolves had gotten changed. But either way,
I don't think so.
Yeah, this unique's great for leveling. It allows you to summon all the wolves up to your maximum companion amount. It gives them flat damage, gives you a huge amount of health, which is great. And then they do a very unique thing where they have a very weak version of it, and then they have a very powerful version, which we'll get to later, where I wish they would do that with a lot more uniques. But it's cool that even the weaker one here is still in an S tier type usage.
Yeah, especially for leveling, yeah.
Alright, Strong Mind.
That's a strong mind, strong crap. I think the only reason you might want to use this item is like if you're playing Sorcerer early on and you want to reach 200 mana, 300 mana, right? Because you want to get your idols, like, or your, the passives that require 200 mana popping. But honestly, I think it's just crap. It's just a crap item.
Yep, I agree. Complete crap. Never used it. It does give a lot of mana, but I mean, it's not that much. That's a big, thing. It gives you a huge amount of stun avoidance, and then to synergize with that, if you get stunned, it'll do a small lightning explosion. So you try not to get stunned, beautiful. But if you do, like, cool. Those anti-synergies like that are just kind of weird. It is a very old item, but yeah, definitely the crap pile. Hope it gets reworked. Yeah. Chimera's Essence.
S tier leveling, I think. That damage and movement speed when you're leveling with a Reaper form or something like that, it's just really nice, right? Especially if you high roll this and you don't get too fucked with the resistances while transformed. I think S tier leveling. It's never used this for endgame. I see a lot of people that think that this is somehow like a best in slot or something. It's not, but for leveling, it's really good.
Yep, a lot of people will ask me on my werebear guides, like, why aren't you wearing this in your guide? And it's like, well, it's not as good as you think. You're gonna take way more damage, and then you're missing out on a lot of other affixes that you could have. Yeah, if you get a max rolled 160% increased damage, it probably feels really good for damage, but it's you can get like critical strike multiplier and penetration to offset that pretty hard.
Armor shred, frailty.
Armor shred, health, all that, not take the increased damage.
Plus a good base, a bone amulet.
But it is great for leveling. If you get one of these early, level 22, and you're playing a werebear or a transformation, Reaper form something, throw it on, use it through the whole campaign. It'll be nice.
Destroy everything.
Yeah, you'll go faster, you'll do more damage, and hopefully you're in soft core, because you probably might die. Death Rattle.
Well, this item was so OP that they had to nerf it by half, right? And guess what? It's still OP. S plus. the 100, it's hard to roll a good one, right? But that 135 up to 135 minion crit multi, it's just insanity, right? Like, it's just so much damage for your minions. Really, 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 really good. And I can't wait to see when sacrifice gets like properly fixed and stuff. We talked about sacrifice on the previous video, right? The plus to sacrifice is gonna be huge. Plus the health on minion death, so much sustain. Again, I can't wait for to see what this item can really do. But obviously, right now, Necromancer being as strong as it is, this item is just OP, you know. And if you're playing minions and you're playing crit minions, it's probably a must. You're probably gonna use it 100%.
Yep, lots of end game minion builds use it. The Necromancer tends to use it, or the Acolyte, well, Necromancer is going to use it more than kind of the Beastmaster does. Both can use it. Beastmaster usually uses the Claw or the Fang, though. It's usually a little bit better. But yeah, if you get a max rolled 100% critical strike multiplier with the 35 on the implicit, it's crazy. You get that increased critical strike chance, and then that 100% critical strike multiplier is going to make your minions hit so much harder. It was 200%. They halved it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a loss. But now on your rings, you can get 35% per ring. So there's a little bit of a makeup area, but still super powerful. And like you said, when sacrifice, gets hopefully buffed at some point in the future, or reworked, or fixed, or whatever it needs to, it should be nice. It's definitely gonna be nice to get that +1 level to it. It'll be okay. The increased damage that your minions take is almost completely offset with all the damage buffs they've done recently for minions.
Yeah.
So
and you can just, if you're
bad.
playing Necro, you can just recast them anyway, right? Who cares if they die? You just cast them, and they have so much leech on crit now that the crit multi just makes them like leech so much. Especially if you're playing melees and you have Ribbons of Blood on top of it, or you're playing wolves with aspect of the aspect of the links. Like, they just leech so much with crits now. Doesn't really matter. I really like how they addressed this nerf, by the way. I like that they took away the crit multi from the amulet and they put it on other items. So right now, you don't feel like your entire power relies on one slot, and you can actually build your power by steps instead of like a big chunk. I think it feels way better to build minions now thanks to that. So yeah.
Yeah, I like it. But yeah, it's still an S+ endgame item.
Yeah.
Alright, we got the Fang.
Well, that's the OP version of the Claw, pretty much. And the best thing about this item is that it comes in a bone amulet, baby. And getting 75 health, plus 40% Fizz Res and 40% Necrotic Res, plus all the minion not stunned and the flat damage, and it's just like such a good item for wolves. It's basically the dream item. Everything that gives you is perfect. S+. It's one of those items that if you drop a good one, it also feels really good. Because a crap one works because you get what you want, which is your wolf companion thingy. But if you have a good one, it just feels insane because you're covering a lot of your resistances, and it's a really good item. I love that feeling when you upgrade from Claw to Fang also feels like so nice. It's really rewarding, especially for new players. I really like it. S+.
Yep, I agree. It's definitely S+. Super powerful. The resistance, the health, the flat damage. Your minions can't be stunned. It's very powerful. Best in slot for sure for a lot of minion builds, especially melee minion builds. All right, we got Extharaz Conundrum.
I really like the idea behind this item, but it's one of those that I actually never found a real use. And because, I mean, the ward conversion is kind of like cool, that you cannot leech and you cannot regenerate. It's kind of like, oof, that's pretty harsh. And the 30% more physical damage is really interesting. The only character that I could see you using this with that I've never tried, so I'm just talking out of my supposition, is if you did something like a crit multi-shot and you're using the health on crit, so that's your sustain and you have a lot of hits, right? Kind of like how the bow mage sustains, and you benefit from that more physical damage. But again, that potion health conversion is also like a bit odd. It's a cool item. I just think it's like it gives you a lot of things, and I feel like the things that it gives you are pulling into opposite directions. It's a bit of a item that contradicts itself, I feel. So for me, it's kind of like a B. Like, I can see it having some use. If you need the cannot leached, like the gloves that we mentioned, right? You can kind of like use them. But I don't know. I think it's a bit like more situational than the gloves. The gloves are, you don't feel as bad using them. Where this item is just weird. I don't know what your thoughts are.
For me, I also put it in B. I almost want to put it in just the crap pile, because I just
Uh-huh.
don't ever find myself using it. If I want to convert my potion health completely to ward, I usually just put on the belt. If I don't
Yeah.
want to leech health, I'll put on the gloves. Um,
Yeah.
and this one, it's weird that you would have two things that de-synergize from each other. You know, you cannot leech, you cannot regenerate, but you do get more damage when you have full health.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have a hard time sustaining that, and it's just weird for an end game item to like only have like two affixes that you really want. You have the 100% of health converted to word, and then your more physical damage. To only have two affixes that you're really using, it's just
Yeah, it's
I would
weird.
never
It
use
feels
it.
bad, especially because, again, there's so much good shit on amulets, right? That, I mean, you're competing versus things like Orions and Omnis and the items that we're gonna go into now, which are some of the best items in the game, right? So yeah, it's rough.
All right, we got Serpent's Milk.
Dude, the first time I looked into this item, I was like, all right. So it gives your minions poison chance, but your minions don't deal poison, but your poison deals what 75 increased damage? Like, I don't know. I think it's a crap item. Like, I think if this item gave you like poison effectiveness or poison multiplicative damage or something, it could be interesting. But I honestly just think it's crap. It just seems such a complicated interaction for what 75 increased damage. I don't understand. Uh, yeah, crap for me.
I will put it in crap, only because I haven't done it yet, but I've talked to a couple of people about it, and we've theorized the build. And the build is that you use poison thorn totems, and
Okay.
you have to do as many hits as possible. So you might have like avalanche going, you might have serpent strike going, you
Mm-hmm.
probably have ice thorns going, and then you have thorn totems that proc on hit with the idols. And the
Yeah.
purpose of the build is to proc as many thorn totems as possible. You would have the poison clouds or whatever it is that procs now afterwards when they die. They also fire their thorns. They have poison on hit. They obviously have the 200% chance to poison on minion hit.
Yeah.
They don't do any poison damage because they have that 90% less poison damage. But there is a node inside of thorn totems that makes them do more hit damage per stack of poison on the enemy.
Of poison.
And you
Yeah.
can make thorn totems. I've heard that some people have tested it and they said that their thorn totems were hitting really, really hard, like
Okay.
for even like 1,000 damage, each, which is kind of crazy for thorn totems. I haven't built
Yeah.
into it too much or done too much with it. If that turns out to be viable, it means there might be one viable way to use it. But overall, it's just kind of like what?
I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I played Thorn Totems before and I hit like that just using cold damage on them. So it's like, it's like, it just seems like so complicated from what you actually get, and it feels so situational. I don't know. There might be some hidden builds on items that we're judging. You know, the game is still young, and we might just be ignorant about some of the stuff that we're judging. So, hey, if you guys think this item is actually S tier and you want to prove us, I like to sit. So, get on it.
Yep. I think the 90% less poison damage might have been a bit tad too much. Because
Yeah.
200% poison minion chance really isn't that much.
No.
It's a lot. It's the most you can get like in a single spot, but you can get more than 200% poison chance with Lich and Poison Wraiths, or not Lich, but just with Poison Wraiths
I also
and Poison
the
chance.
the only other use that I thought about it is like, you know, if you're playing something with Dead Seal or Soul Fist, where you have like the, you know, armor per stack of poison, or the damage per stack of poison with the dead wave. It's like, I mean, why not just like craft poison chance on your staff? You know, it's like,
Yeah, it's a weird one.
do you really want to play with minions if you're playing Dead Seal? I mean, Dead Seal has some minion synergies too. I don't know. Maybe you can do some weird shit. But it just seems so much worse than just playing straight up regular Dead Seal. Like, why would you go over all these complications and having to build minion health and Dead Seal? And it's just like, why? So yeah.
Yeah, it is relatively new. Maybe there's a new skill or something that'll come out that'll be, good with it. I always thought
OP.
Serpent Strike might work well with it. But yeah,
Yeah.
for now it's just in the crap pile.
Yeah.
All right, the Frozen Eyes of Formos.
I mean, the thing is like because it's an amulet and it's for minions, and you're probably gonna be doing like cold like minions or something like that, right? Uh, I mean, you're just gonna be wearing Death Rattle, right? So for me, it's just like, I mean, it's not horrible. You can, and it drops from 4 Mosus, but let's be honest, I think it's like, for me, it's like Ocearon. It's like an A, maybe B, honestly. I don't know. The chill can be nice, but again, you get chill chance anyway on most of your minions, right? On the passives. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this item. Maybe it's an A just because, you can get some damage and it's farmable. And, while you're farming for your for your last steps of the living, you might just get it. So when you make a necro build on another character, it's like, hey, I have this on my stash, might use it, while I get something better. But it's not a great item. It just competes versus too much good stuff.
Yeah, I've used it and swapped it out for the Death Rattle on the Ice Range minion build and done a full cold damage one, where they can they'll hit a lot harder with cold damage. Obviously, that 120% increase minion cold damage is a lot. They'll chill the enemies. They will even freeze occasionally. Usually not bosses. It's okay. But they obviously hit harder when they have the 100% crit multi versus the 100% increased. So it's viable, but I'm just going to leave it in A tier. You can use it if you want, but it's not going to be the best in slot.
I agree.
All right, Aura's Time Glass.
We're getting into the juicy trifecta of amulets coming ahead.
Yeah, some of these I don't even have yet.
Aurora's Time Glass is OP as fuck. It's so OP. It's so hard. This is going to be a hell to balance. It's weird that it doesn't proc when you get stunned, which is weird, but if they fix stun, then this item is just gonna be the best item, probably the best item in the game. This is basically a second life, pretty much, unless you get one shot. The stats it gives you are insane, right? Cast speed and attack speed on an amulet with endurance, some HP, and then the second life. This for hardcore. It's really, really crazy when you play with this, especially if you have some ward on top of it, so you can benefit from the ward retention. You're playing something like volatile zombie build or something like that. Insane item that I wouldn't be surprised as the game grows and people get more competitive and people get more sweaty about like pushing and all that. I wouldn't be surprised if this item becomes like basically mandatory on every build. It's one of those items that it really changes how the game works. Suddenly you can get away with murder every 20 seconds and you can just run around, wait for the 20 seconds and go again, and you basically have 2 lives. Really insane. And then I've seen people basically push waves do arena pushes where they should have died 20 times, but they didn't die because this item saved them 20 times. It's really crazy. It allows you to do crazy things without having offsetting, player mistakes, which is kind of like weird because the game is about not making those mistakes, right? So really, really controversial item. We'll see what happens to it. And again, if they nerf stuns, which they need to be for the rest of the game, in my opinion, this item is only going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Super OP item, sleeper OP. I don't see people use it. But again, if you want to be competitive, you should take a look into this item because it's broken. Absolute broken.
Yeah, it's pretty potent. It's definitely something you are going to use in an end game, and it's definitely best in slot for a lot of builds. It's a little weird. It gives you endurance and top of ward retention, but usually you're building into a full life build anyways, and the ward retention is just going to be to help you with the extra ward that you gain there for a little bit.
Yeah, for the passive.
But it's super potent. As long as, like you said, if you stack a lot of health on a build, that's really all you have to do with something like this. And you just keep yourself from being one-shot. Every 20 seconds, you get healed back up, you get a ton of ward, you can run around for another 20 seconds and attack in the meantime. That is pretty crazy.
I saw Bina use this item on his Werber push when he was pushing like Arena, like he just Earthquake Werber to like 1,000 waves or something. And in that push, he should have died 40 times, and he didn't die because of this item, legit. He only died when he got one-shot. Like it literally makes you immortal, especially if you're playing a character that is already tanky. Let's just say you're playing a character with 100k EHP on the calculator. Well, this item suddenly gives you double that, right? Because you basically heal to full, and those characters are really hard to. There's not much things in the game that can one-shot you. again, he had to go to wave 1000 to even take damage, right? So yeah, insane item. I don't know what they're gonna do with this.
That's a little crazy. All right, Omnis.
Yep. Well, another amazing item. This one is more balanced, in my opinion. It's still probably one of the best items in the game, but again, it's really hard to get a good one. Obviously, you have to try to roll at least everything plus 30, 35 if you want this to not screw with your resistances and so on. The +1 to all skills is insane. But again, if you get a good one of these ones, I mean, I played this game a lot. I've dropped already, like, I don't know, like 10 of these, 15 of these. And I still don't have a one that I feel comfortable of using. Like, I have some that are okay, but like one that you go, okay, everything is like 35 plus or something. I still, it's hard to get. Really good item. Again, you need to be on high corruption to get this. Like, I think it starts dropping at 200, 300, something like that. If you want to start seeing this item, you're going to have to invest some time into your characters. But again, the +1 to skills, it can be really good into builds that actually benefit from all their skills they're using. Like if you're playing something like, I don't know, Sentinel, getting a +1 to your, sigils or a +1 to your lunge, it might not be really big. But if you're playing something like Sorcerer, well, getting that +1 to Lightning Blast, that +1 to Nova, that +1 to all of these abilities that really, really benefit from the plus skills. It's actually insane. If you're playing minions, like suddenly all your minions get a +1 to skills. I know Tank used this amulet for his Necromancer 1000 wave push. He didn't even use that rattle because he just benefits from much from the plus skills. Insane item, S+. I really like this item. It's a true chase item that actually you have to work your ass for to get a good one. Again, I played this game so much and I still don't have a good one, so really cool that they have items like this locked behind content. I really like this.
Yeah, it is very, very powerful, but the challenge is, of course, getting a really good roll. You can even hope to kind of get a good roll on most of it. Maybe just leave out the elementals and try and get 40% plus on the other ones. But still, it just, if you have bad rolls on all the elemental resists, it doesn't offset the +1 to all level of skills. So you gotta have a little bit of both. It is hard to get, but once you get a good one, it's gonna be worth a lot in multiplayer.
Well, if people can find your bazaar, I guess.
Yeah, if people can find you and if it's tradable.
Hey.
All right, Orion's Eye.
Well, this, I think we can definitely call this item the chase, right? When you talk about Last Epoch and you think about what's the item you want in your collection, what is your goal as a new player, what is the item that is going to get you like feeling that dopamine of, oh fuck, I dropped this. This is the item. Insane item, especially for things like Sorcerer, because of the synergies we talked previously of like Priest Wraps and Ashen Crown and so on. Again, you can reach 300 mana with a sword super easy with this item because it comes with so much flat mana, like up to 150. Less fire damage taken, less duration of stun, like more duration of stun immunity after you get stunned, so you get that bit of a grace period if you get stunned once. Again, this item is absolutely insane. I love it. I hope we have more items like this. It is really hard to get now. It used to be really easy. And again, I have more than 4,000 hours in this game, and I dropped it 4 times. So if you're looking for yours, I made the math, and for 1,000 hours you drop 1. So hey, let me know, guys, how many times have you dropped Orion's Eyes? And S plus, of course, insane item.
Yeah, I am the same. It's S plus. It's very powerful. The mage builds with it is absolutely crazy. Taking the less fire damage, being able to convert a lot of your damage types into elemental or fire in particular. It's absolutely crazy. And the amount of mana that it can give you is build enabling. I mean, you can break the 200, 300 mana and just putting this item on and being high level. That's it.
Yeah.
Very, very powerful. All right, we got the Confluence of Fate.
Really weird item, honestly. Like, it's one of those items that it's also actually pretty hard to get because you need to do like level 100 Riot, and it's quite rare too. And it's really hard to get a one that rolls good because you don't want it. You want the spell damage, but you don't want the increased damage taken. So I swear to God, like getting this item that's actually good. And again, this like multiple effects, it's just a weird item, honestly. I think I'm gonna put it on crap, honestly. Just because, are you ever gonna wear this over the things that we just mentioned? No. So crap for me. So it's cool as a concept. It's just not practical.
I was gonna put it in B, but I honestly would put it in crap. I was gonna put it in B because I'm thinking of back when the Shroud of Cinders was really good, and this was
Yeah.
another way to get some spell void, but it's kind of just all dead. At
Yeah.
this point, I haven't worn it. I have a few of them in inventory, and I just say, yeah, I always look at it, I go, man, that's a lot of spell damage of a whole bunch of different types, but then you don't find anything for it, so we can put it in the crap for now. Maybe it'll
Yep.
come back if fire auras ever come back.
Yep.
All right, we got Logi's Hunger.
I really like this item. I really like this item because you can use it for many different builds. You have Literate for yourself, which can be really powerful. You can. It's one of the only ways to give something like volatile zombies flat crit chance if you're going for damage volatile zombie, which I played in the past. It's a good base because it's the necrotic, bone amulet base. And again, if you're doing something like a hybrid, like necromancer with fire minions, and you're doing fire yourself, maybe with hungering souls or something, right? You're doing because you can do the hungering souls that does bonus damage with minions and so on. I think there's definitely a powerful build there. I think it's a really cool item. You can do really unique stuff with it. And again, it's just a nice bone amulet base, and it's just a really good item in my opinion. S plus. Not as good as some of the other amulets that we just mentioned, but it definitely has a place in endgame.
Yeah, I put it in S plus as well with the fire zombies. It is definitely very, very powerful in endgame. If you play it with the fire mages as well, it gives you a couple levels to them, increasing the damage not only that they do, but they can now have a higher crit chance. Of course, for the skeleton mage tree, they already have a huge amount of base critical strike chance they get inside that tree anyway. But this gives them a lot of leech on that crit as well, even though they get a lot of leech on their critical strikes in the tree as well. But for both zombies and the mages, very powerful. Yeah, it's got its place in some endgame builds.
Yep.
Alright, we got the Eye of the Storms.
What a weird amulet, huh? And it's hard to get too. It's pretty rare. I think it's one of the rarest items in the game. And if I'm not mistaken, it's the highest level requirement, 85, level 85 to wear this. And yeah, I don't know. You cast Maelstrom every 5 seconds, and you get some lightning damage. And again, you have melee lightning damage. I feel like this item was designed with a build in mind. Like maybe like some lightning swipe with Maelstrom dodge thingy going on. I guess someone has to play around with it and show us how good this really can be. I don't know how many Maelstrom stacks you can get now with Warcry casting Maelstorms, and maybe you can do like some weird ass build with it. But right now I think it's pretty bad until I'm proven wrong. The resistances are kind of nice, but I can see that they've made this item this with a build in mind. I just don't think that build is clicking with my head. So yeah, for me it's gonna be probably like a B, honestly, especially considering how hard it is to get. It's not horrible crap. I can see you using this, and I could see you might be able to get a lot of lightning. Again, I don't know how many Maelstorms can you get. But maybe it can get really insane. I have no idea. But again, you're competing with things like Orions, again, things like the Auroras, things like Omnis. It's just hard to compete with those slots. I'm just gonna give it a B.
I put it in B as well. I played around with it quite a bit. It has several problems. Problem number 1, it gives you cold resistance and lightning resist, which as a shaman, you can already get your elemental resistances covered from totems.
Yeah.
So it's unneeded. The cast speed is nice, as an implicit. The chance to cast Maelstrom every 5 seconds, it'll give you a stack. On average, you'll get one every 15 seconds. Every 10 to 15 seconds on average, you'll get one stack. Not a real big thing. The increased lightning damage per active Maelstrom. So I told you about this build a while before. I did it on stream. We had a manually casting Maelstrom build. We put it on autocast where you stutter stepped. We had as much cast speed. We had as much mana regen as you could have. We got, I think, the record with Warcry also in there, so that Warcry would proc like 5 extra ones or whatever it gives. I think 30. It was somewhere around 35 to 40 stacks. I think we hit like 37 or something like that. So it's a lot. It's a lot of stacks, but you stutter step, like you're literally not moving through the whole thing. It takes 5 minutes to do an echo. It does give you a big boost. I mean, you're talking about like 300% lightning damage increase because of that, just from this amulet. But it's not enough to make Maelstrom do like crazy damage numbers against like.
Why not just like craft lightning damage on your amulet and just get like 100, and get lightning res or a crit multi or something, and it's probably an armor shred, and you're probably doing the same damage, right? Like,
and you'd be able to just put Maelstrom on instacast and actually be able to move and put on like Wings of Argentis or something to have survivability. So you can use it. It's just not good. But I'd put it in the B.
Yeah. Okay. I agree.
All right, we got Relics.
Relics. Yeah.
Grimoire of Necrotic Elixirs.
Dude, Grimoire is such a good item. Again, if you use this with a Leech paired with the damage reduction on Potion, dude, you use a Potion, you are legit immune like to necrotic damage. It's a really crazy item. It's also really good for leveling because it's a level 1. You use a Potion, you get 40 flat damage. Really good item. I don't really run it anymore on endgame builds, but I do think it's an S leveling item. This item has a lot of potential.
I could see that. I've only used it a couple of times. One of the old endgame builds I used to run it in is I did use it in Shadow Daggers because you could pop a potion and that 40 necrotic damage got added to Shadow Daggers, which was a huge damage boost. But the 40% less void, necrotic, and poison damage taken also is really powerful. It's good for leveling, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, the Tome of Elements.
Tome of Elements. I feel like Tome of Elements was okay before the gloves, Aberries or whatever they're called, got introduced, right? Because it was like you could get some elemental leech early on, but now it's just like I don't know. I just don't think like. I mean, it's the chance to chill and shock. It's kind of like okay early on leveling. It's not like complete crap for leveling, but I don't know. For me, it's like between B and crap. Honestly, I don't know. What do you think?
I put it in crap just because you're guaranteed to get the gloves and you can get more leech out of them, and you're not going to want both of them on. So why would I want 2% elemental when I can get 3 guaranteed, along with resist and other things. So and now that the relic is class specific and more powerful, obviously you want the unique on the glove slot. But all right, Soulfire.
Soulfire is actually really cool in my opinion, right? So no, you can run Hungering Souls Fire if you want to do that, right? Which is kind of cool. The ignite chance early on is like insane. It's like Calamity but on steroids. It's like Calamity but good for endgame. I think it's like S endgame, honestly. I mean, I think if Ignite was actually powerful, this item would be like really good. The problem is Ignite is not that powerful. But again, the stats it gives is really nice, and I think it's a good item. I would give it S+.
Yeah, you can definitely use it on endgame builds. It's an S+ endgame. There are some endgame builds with it on there. The one thing I hate is they did give it the ability to convert Hungering Souls to fire. But the one thing I hate is when you normally go, it's kind of like Warcry a little bit, where if you want to build into the fire damage, you go into that single, the single node. But a lot of the more damage modifiers are kind of up there on the top. It's better set up. You don't have to like get to it and then go past it too much. But it would almost be cool if it added like some sort of damage or did something with the projectiles. I would also like if it was like single projectile, but you can now pierce or hit the same enemy multiple times. Or, something cool with it. Something that everyone has struggled with Hungering Souls to be able to use it. But it's still a great item. Still very usable.
I can see it.
All right, we got Orcharian's Petals.
Well, this is basically guaranteed from killing the flower that nobody else kills anymore. Like, I haven't seen that boss in a while, other than in Monolith. It has to be crap, right? The mana regen can be okay, but yeah, I don't think it's that good anymore. Such a weird item. And physical spells. Who's really doing physical spells anymore? Like Leech? Like, I don't know. I think it's crap, honestly.
Yeah, it's basically crap. The mana regen. Well, I mean, it is crap, but mana regen, you can get much higher mana regen on Relic now that it's a thing.
Yeah.
This unique was obviously created before that. The cast speed, you can get cast speed on Relic. You can get just as much.
Yeah.
Critical strike chance, you can get just as much with all spells and all attack. It's not just physical.
Yeah.
The stun chance, obviously not a huge thing. But overall, it's just crap because you can craft something so much better. That's more global.
And 3 attunement base is like, all right.
Yeah, it's
nice. 6 mana, dude. Okay.
We'll just leave it in crap. All right, we got Marama's Hilt.
It's just like mana gain when you use harvest. This used to be okay, but now you can just craft mana gained on harvest. So I think it's just crap, honestly. Just crapped.
Yep, I think this item might see a comeback when we get the Warlock, right? And if it's completely curse base, maybe it'll be good then. Maybe that's what it was intended for in the first place. But
maybe.
Yeah, at the moment, there's just no reason for it.
Yep, I agree.
Spirit Plague, I believe it's considered a curse, right? So if you're using Spirit Plague, which means you're not using Harvest, it means you can do some extra damage with Spirit Plague. So it's all right with Spirit Plague builds, but I mean honestly, it's just it's crap. You're not gonna use it. You're not it's a relic. It's class specific. You got rare fixes down there. Not gonna happen.
Yep.
All right, now we got Melvern's Right.
I think this item is actually pretty useful. It's a shame the base relic is so bad. The 4% cold and fire S. But you can use this with how is it called? Ballistas, for example, right? And with the chance to find potions and stuff, like you can get potions on ballistas. The bow minion damage is nice. The dexterity is nice because ballista scales with dexterity actually, right? It's nice, if you need that crit chance, it's good. I would say it's endgame as an endgame item. I think the Recruit Mercenary, like, I really wish they give it like the aura that gave more damage to, if the Mercenary could do like give an aura that, bow minions like deal like 30% more damage or something like that. I think this would make this item way, way, way better and actually like super good. But it's a good item. It's not bad. You can use it end game. It's not the best item, but some builds need it for that base crit chance. That's about it.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see something other than increased chance to find potions on it. Especially since you're probably using this with the ballistas, which can already generate potions if that's really what you want. It's kind of a useless affix, but I mean, it is used with a lot of ballista builds, and therefore I put it in the I put it in S game, end game, because you actually use it on ballista builds. And that's the only reason I would put it. Ballistas is the only thing that I would put it up there for. I wouldn't use it with archers, but you can with the skeleton archers if you wanted. But typically, it's
also
right.
You can sacrifice the mercenary minion, which is really cool. One of my favorite
with
moments ever.
Not being able to chain, just get rid of him.
No, just sacrifice. He keeps spawning, so you can just.
Wow.
Yeah, he's on an endless loop of suffering. The poor mercenary guy.
poor guy.
Yeah.
All right, we got Eucenial's Spear.
Yeah. Honestly, I have no fucking idea what this item is meant to do. The water orbs is like, it's like, I don't know. It's just weird because, I don't really know, man. I just think it's I feel like it sounds really good, and it feels like there should be a build in there. But every time I tried it, it's just I don't know. It's just weird. Because the cast speed, the 3-second cooldown just makes it awkward. I think it's just crap.
Yeah, I put it in crap as well. I know some people have tried to build around it before, but it just doesn't really
Crap.
come with anything that you would really want to use it with. The cooldown sucks. You get some water orbs, you get some increased cold
Yeah.
and lightning damage, but it's like I could just get critical strike multiplier and
Yeah,
do damage
yeah.
anyway, so why? Yeah.
Yep.
It's crap for now. Alright, we got Velder's Chalice. Or Valdor's Chalice.
I mean, it's nice if you're doing Bleed Warpath, right? It definitely gives you an option to not run Bleeding Heart if you don't want to run this because you want to use, again, one of the OP amulets that we just mentioned. Maybe you have a really good Omnis or a really good, Auroras or whatever, right? Or maybe you just want to run like a normal Bone Amulet with like a shit ton of Armor Shred and Crit Multi and things like that. Or just like, just health, frailty, whatever, right? So I think it's S plus endgame viable. It's not a bad item. It is what it provides is pretty unique. The bleed duration is nice too, right? Because it's basically a damage multiplier for bleed. Yeah, it's a cool item. I wish the base was better. The mana base feels a bit. I mean, it's a level 64 item that comes with 25 mana implicit. It's a bit bad, but yeah, I think it's okay.
Yeah, I would rather see it on the inscribed tablet for the -3 mana cost, so it synergizes
that would
with
be
Warpath
sick.
a lot more. But
Yeah,
it's good. It's obviously used in endgame, bleeding Warpath, bleed builds. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's one of the few sources of a bleed, damage over time leech. So yeah, it's cool. I put it in S plus endgame.
yeah, same.
All right, we got Hercule's Vessel.
Well, a lot of people like Fire Aura. I think Fire Aura is just a meme, honestly. So I think it's crap. But I personally think it's crap. But I know some people might think you actually need it for Fire Aura just because of the area. But I don't know what you think.
I can't call it crap. I'll put it in B.
Okay, let's go.
But if
B.
you match it up with the Jungle Queen's chaps and you spam 10 potions all real quick. I mean, if that's just what you do, and then you go get a bunch of kills, you get a whole bunch of potions back. If you spam 10 potions, you can get up to 100 spell fire damage, and you'll get 10 fire auras.
For 4 seconds. And then?
For 4 seconds, and then you want to spam it, like, you kind of want to round up some mobs, then spam it in 4 seconds, run through them, kill them all, get your potions
B sounds
back.
about right.
It's B, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little memey, but I mean, it's a start.
It looks cool.
Yeah, for that 4 seconds, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then you die right afterwards, but it's
Level
cool.
76. Oy.
All right, we got the Anchor of Oblivion.
Full item, hard to get because it's from Harton's Husk and you barely go there for any reason. So you really need to get out of your way to get this one. And to be honest, like the stats that it gives are pretty cool, right? Increase armor, void damage, 40% endurance is pretty massive. Endurance threshold, it's a lot. It's worth a lot of tier 5s, right? The increased void damage alone is like what, almost like a tier 7. Endurance alone is like a tier 7. Like endurance, well, even more than that, right? Endurance threshold is like a tier 6. The strength is like a tier 7, right? 6. So again, it's really good, but just the downside of the getting slowed when you cast the void wave thingy. I feel like it's one of those items that's gonna feel really good and then it's gonna kill you. So for me, it's kind of like an A item. Like you can use it. It's not crap. You can use it early on, especially if you need to cap all of these stats. But I think the downside, especially if you're doing hard content where mobility is key and, just getting slowed or stunned is just going to kill you because you're just going to get CC to death. I can't really give it more than that, sadly. But it's a cool item.
For me, it's crap. It's crap.
Ooh.
One, you got to be level 80 to wear it. All right,
Okay.
so it's you're already leveled. You've already got your stats, but then you have an item here where if you take a hit that almost kills you, it leaves you down
Yeah.
into your endurance. You get 3 stacks of slow on you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
come on now. If you're trying to get out of danger and you've taken a big hit, do you really want to be slowed? I mean, that's just asking. That's like stun. I mean, it's just gonna get you killed. It's not something you're really
Hey.
gonna want on an end game meta. All right, we
Okay,
can
let's
go.
give it a B. Okay.
I can give it a B, but the down
Yeah, let's
like
go.
they need to remove
Come on,
that
it's
downside.
better than the flower, man. It's better than the flower, man.
Not if it gets you killed.
Well, the flower will get you nothing, I guess. All right.
All right, that's it for the relics. We want to do shields real quick.
Yeah, let's do shields real quick.
All right, we just have a crap pile here. So let's start. We got the slab.
The slap, crap.
All right, crap number 1 done.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you read it, it's crap.
Yeah.
A little bit of health. Your block chance has gone down to the shitter, which is the only reason you wanted a shield for. And
Yeah.
then obviously you don't take any damage when you do a block, but 40% reduce. Even if you had a build that had built into it and you had 100% block somehow, you got reduced down to 60%.
The only thing I can think of is like the fact that you can use shield bash for the 3 guaranteed blocks. You're technically immune to hits when you do that, right?
Well, 3 hits.
For 3 hits.
And then you have, what,
Yeah.
a 10-second cooldown?
Hey, you can clickbait immortal build, you know, and then 3 seconds.
Temporarily immortal build.
Yeah, crap.
You can clickbait that on anything. Immortal build till you get hit.
Yeah.
All right, close call.
I mean, it's again, I've used it for leveling sometimes, but it's just crap. Let's be honest. You know, paired with other dodging, movement speed stuff, it's just garbage. The flat dodge is nice when you have like, you know, grasping, you know, falcon, things like that, like movement. Viper tail, but yeah, it's just crap.
If you build into a lot of dodge, you're not going to need a shield to give you even more dodge.
Yeah.
You're going to want more damage. It's just how it's going to work. You're either going to use a two-hander or you're going to dual wield. I don't see you building dodge off of a shield.
Yeah.
All right, Soul Bastion.
Hey, guess what? So crap. Just useless, right?
If Soul Feast was still good, this would be an S tier build or a S tier item. But
I mean, to be honest, like the 1000% block effectiveness at level 15, you know, and 30% block is not. I mean, you could use this for a bit, you know, if you're playing like Paladin, and it's gonna be hard to get like a shield that has more than 30% block chance at level 15 with 1000% block effectiveness. So you could technically use it, like, but again, you don't really level with shields anyway, right? So I just think it's crap. It's not as crap as the other two, okay?
We'll put it in B. It's usable.
Yeah, let's do that.
If you have a, you know, if you don't have a two-hander, you can't dual wield yet. Hey, there's a shield for you.
Hey, 1000 block effectiveness at level 15. That's all right, you know.
All right, Life's a Journey.
Life Journey, on the other hand, is actually build enabling, in my opinion. If you're doing like, you know, the Spirit Plague on Harvest hit and stuff, I've seen Foe play this build, where you just harvest and you do the Spirit Plague spread on like crit, and then you do harvest for crit. You can get like she showed me his like stat sheet. He got like 20,000 increased damage over time or something stupid. It's quite a unique playstyle. I like that, you know, you can synergize with the, you know, health, like the health lost and stuff. You could maybe it synergizes with low life if you want to do that, right? I think it's S+. It's actually one of the shields that I actually think it's worth building around. And it looks really cool, right? With the Berserker / Dark Souls like wheel skeleton thingy. Looks really cool. And yeah, it actually has a build around it that I think it's cool. So yeah.
Yeah, I put it
Cool
in S
item.
plus endgame as well. There's some builds that you can build around it. It is cool that it procs Spirit Plague on melee hit for you. It allows
Yeah,
you to use two
really.
skills while only using actually one. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, we got Monia Mentis.
Okay. I mean, all of these kind of like level 50 plus or 45 plus shields that don't come with block chance. It's just like, okay, I have 20% block, and then I have current mana gain that's worth on block. It's just like, I don't know. I guess if you're running, it's like if you're running a build that doesn't have max block, you don't want to get hit to get mana back. It's just like it's like one of those wonky ideas that the devs have that players don't really want to use. I think it's just crap.
I put it as B only because I've played with this one quite a bit.
Okay.
If you have a very high amount of mana, say you're playing Glacier, all right,
Okay.
and you're playing Glacier, and when you get to a certain threshold of mana, say 800 mana, playing Glacier,
Okay.
you can actually do quite a bit of you can have your mana full like all the time because you're always critting, you're always getting hits, you're getting your mana back.
But do I want to lose my 200 staff for
That's
350 damage effectiveness on Glacier
that's why
for
it's
getting mana when I can focus?
that's why it's in B and not endgame.
I see. Okay.
It's because you can do it, but you're obviously if you're going one-handed Catalyst, you'd have your crit chance. If you're going two-handed, you're not gonna lose damage to go with
Hey.
the shield. But
You convinced me. It has a use. It's
has
a
a
shit
use.
use, but it has a use. So
It-
let's
it's not a crap use; it's a B use.
It's a B use. It's not crap. It's just.
But it's got a synergy that works. It's just not great.
Okay. All right. It's okay.
It might just be crap. I don't know. Coral Aegis.
Hey, talking about crap. Yeah.
Health
Coral
gained on
Aegis.
stun. That's a new one. Yeah, that's crap.
Yeah. It's weird too that this again comes with melee physical damage, but it's like meant to be like shocked. It's like this item is pulling. It's like a porcupine pointing in all directions, but I don't really know what he's aiming at. Weird item. Weird item, especially since it's at level 70. And again, 23% block chance playing block. It just, I feel like the only block is really OP if you can build good enough block, right? Otherwise, why even bother? Like, if you can't be more than, 50, 70, even 100% block chance, why even bother with block, right? It's so much, like, you need investment, even though it's really OP if you actually invest on it.
If
So,
this
yeah, it's.
if this shield had 50% block and it had health gained on block, it might be like viable to use.
Viable,
But
yeah.
the health gained on stun, I don't even know. Like
Yeah.
as
Yeah, I
the
don't know.
number
I
one
mean,
thing as a mage that you're gonna do like against stun, you're either gonna get a lot of stun avoidance or you're gonna build into the idols that after you teleport you're stun immune. So like
Yeah.
you're never gonna be stunned. There's no reason to ever want this.
And again, chance to shock attackers. If you probably don't want to get you don't want to get hit, right? Because I mean, the thing is like in this game, you reach a point right now because since the defense changes, that if you get hit, you're just gonna die. There's nothing to shock if you're dead, right? So yeah.
That and if you're playing a lightning build, we've already proven most of the lightning builds, you're not gonna want a shield. Like you can get shock elsewhere. It's
not to
just
mention you
pointless.
lose a lot of damage, right? For going a shield and a lot of crit chance because no catalyst. So yeah, garbo.
My favorite part though, it increases your melee physical damage.
Yay, nice.
Perfect.
It's a
All right.
mountain shield or whatever it's called. So yeah.
We got Rhea's Light.
I mean, hey, 25% less fire damage taken on block. I tell you something. If there ever is a kind of like a raid kind of content, like in Diablo 2, where hey, we're gonna go kill Diablo, right? In Epoch Skull or something like that. And you might actually want to build a tank that is 100% built around not taking fire damage because that map is just fire enemies. I could see you like doing something like with, stacking Orions and Riot Slide, so you get all the less damage fire taken stack on top of each other, right? But since that's not in the game, it's just crap. Yeah.
I'm gonna put it at B again.
Come on.
Okay, yeah, it's crap.
Come on.
If you really wanted, you could use it with judgment, but it's crap. But yeah, if you could synergize Orion's Eye, the shield, prison wraps, you take all that less elemental damage, fire damage, you would be a hell of a tank. But unfortunately, it's crap. All right, the Bulwark of the Last Abyss.
Now, this is a good item in my opinion. Why? Because it's a shield that comes with fucking 55% block chance, 53, right? If you max roll, the increased armor is really nice if you're playing something like Void Knight. And if you're gonna build around block and increased armor, you're probably not gonna have that much health. So the Apocalypse thing is not gonna fuck you too much. And again, if you're playing something like Rive block, where you're life stealing a lot with Rive, you have like World Eater and stuff. Dude, that increase and that melee crit multiplier is actually really. I really like this item. It's probably not hardcore friendly, right? But really fun to play around it. And again, if you build around it, I think you can make good builds and you can do a shit ton of damage while having like really high block chance. I think it's a good item, and I'm gonna give it S plus.
I put it in S plus as well because you can build into a 100% block build with this. You can have a crap ton of armor with it. It's gonna be great in multiplayer, I think. For somebody who wants a tank build. If you don't have to if you
don't
have
an
a way
exalted shield.
If you don't have to worry about not necessarily taking a hit, but if you're in the fight and you have a way to replenish that health you're losing, you take such a reduced amount of damage that I think people will want you around.
Yeah.
All right, we've got 2 left. We've got Faith of the Frozen.
Another wonky item, right? It's kind of like similar to it's a combination of Coral Aegis and Riot's Light. Like you take less cold damage. Again, if there's ever raids that have thematic, enemies, or you go into a raid and all of it is like cold enemies, and suddenly you can slap this is like it's Diablo 2 and you can get cold absorption kind of deal. Maybe it's okay, but again, it's just like it comes with 17% block chance. And you take less damage on block, but you can't block because you don't have block chance. It's just crap. And it's a shame because it's a new item. It's level 84. I honestly don't even... It's a new... I honestly don't even know what this does. Crap item.
Yep.
Give it block chance. Maybe we play it.
If it had higher block chance, it does have the health gain on block, so it would be very useful.
Yep.
The less cold damage taken on block would be somewhat useful. I assume it's meant for a cold build, maybe like... Spellblade or something, but it's just what?
It's a weird item.
If you had a really powerful freeze build, if freeze was actually good, where you could freeze often enough to gain the health, like almost like an on hit type thing, like perma freeze, it could be good. But yeah, it's crap.
This is one of those items that makes you wonder if the devs are playing the same game. It's like, okay, what is happening here? What was the meeting for this one? Yeah, I mean, I feel like sometimes they design with things in their mind that are cool thematically, and they have like a theme, and that's really cool. And I like to have unique items like that. But obviously, it's better when that translates into how the game is actually played. I think they can really improve this item, but it needs a lot of work. This one.
I don't think that it would be hard to improve the item. It's crap.
Yeah.
But
yeah, just like give it block chance and it's good already,
I think honestly, with some of these uniques, I think at the time that they were created, they were probably having different visions of what they saw in the future.
Yeah.
And so they thought like maybe they were gonna go one way. They put out this unique, and it turns out that didn't happen. So 3 patches later, we're just like, what the hell? But yeah. All right, Horns of Eukeros.
Very interesting item. It's kind of like an aggressive block version. The stats you get are actually pretty cool, but the increased mana cost is a bit weird. It looks really cool, okay? So that gives it points. The 16 strength and the block effectiveness is kind of nice, but again, not having block chance just kind of kills it for me, honestly. I don't know, maybe like a B, maybe. Like I could see it being like an aggressive block version kind of thing. Maybe with Shield Bash, where you are playing around those guaranteed blocks, and you're actually benefiting from the block effectiveness, and you're kind of like playing more like an engager, right? But yeah, it's not that great. I would give it a B. It's cool as fuck though. But yeah. Crap? Wow.
Crap. The mana gained on block, you don't have enough block to really gain a lot of mana back. It's garbage. The fact that it doesn't come with extra block chance means it's useless at endgame when you're trying to survive. If you're wearing a shield, you want to wear, if you're gonna wear a shield and already take the reduced damage, you better have block. Like that's what you're giving it up for, and it doesn't come.
Come on, it's better than Last Call.
If I would rather be able to dodge if I can't block.
Wow. Okay.
But
right, do whatever you want.
The other fact is you have to be level 84 for this. This is a true end game item, and it doesn't come
Yeah.
with block chance. The other crazy thing about it is that if you're thinking block, you're thinking Sentinel. There's so many skills that give you mana back. Why do I care about mana gained on block?
Yeah.
The 50% increased mana cost, probably not even worth it, because that's just...
Yeah.
If you're already getting mana back with your skills, you're probably using a free skill. Like, come on now.
Yeah,
It's I don't know.
all right. I mean, it's so good though. I wanted to give it B because it's a bull. Right?
It does look good. I'll move it to B for that, but
Okay.
it's crap.
Guys, it is what it is. Style points.
I'm never gonna use it. There's that.
But it looks good.
But it looks great. Yeah.
Let's just say the game has a transmog system, okay? And you can change your shield to look into any shield you want.
Then I would put that in crap because I'd make something else that's good look like it.
Yeah, but you would use the looks, right? You would use the aesthetic, that into your actual good shield. Yeah.
I don't know, Lizard. You're coming off kind of shallow at the moment.
Hey, B tier. End of the story. It looks good.
Yeah, we'll keep it in B. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for part 2, where we have now done all of the jewelry. We did the relics, and we did the shields as well. So all of that's going to be in the tier list. We're going to clear it out. We're going to move on. We're now going to do all the weapons for part 3, and then we'll move on to set items. That'll be part 4. You can see how these conversations go. Last video, I told you it was going to be 3 parts. It's already up to 4. Every video, it just keeps getting longer. You can thank Lizard for that. But that is going to be it for us on this one. And as always, guys, have a good day, and we'll see you.
Bye-bye.